Hello and welcome to Good Game, the show for gamers, by gamers. I'm Junglist.
I'm Daniil.
And I'm Kapowski. We've got a lot to get through, so let's get started. We've got an international guest joining us on Good Game. She had her own TV show in the UK about gaming.
I'll be reviewing the latest Need for Speed, Carbon.
And we just hammered out a 24-hour session of Zelda on the Wii. We're not getting any sleep until we give you either the thumbs up or the thumbs down.
I'll be talking to one of the best case modders in Australia, as well as showing you how to set up your own LAN at home.
Yeah, but first let's get into gamers news.
Good game!
Gears of War has become the fastest selling game yet for the Xbox 360.
Whoa, no, out. So it's no surprise that plans for a sequel have been inadvertently announced by Jeff Bell of Microsoft. Whilst talking about a commercial, Mr. Bell said that the goal of the ad was to establish Marcus Phoenix as the hero for the Gears of War trilogy. Of course, gamers who have finished Gears of War 1 already know this from the open ending.
Ethan Smith of the Wall Street Journal reports that many real rock musicians are also avid players of Guitar Hero. Jonathan Davis from Korn and Adam Gontier from 3 Days Grace are fans of the game, whilst Michael Einziger from Incubus was shocked by how hard it was to play the game version of his own song, Stella. Rock on. Tape on my laptop, yeah.
Rule of Rose, made by Sony for the Japanese market but distributed by third-party companies in other parts of the world, has been banned in the United Kingdom. The game features a group of orphans who kidnap a girl and keep her captive and has been accused of containing perverse material. The game is due to be released in Australia in early 2007, although calls have been made to ban the game here as well.
This week we're going to talk about mods. Mods is short for computer modding, and that's what we do here. Now, my hobby is computer modding, so I have this as my baby. But we're here with Defiant today to talk about some of his mods, and boy, they're spectacular. So Defiant, this is obviously a really nicely made mod.
Cheers, mate.
How did you get into modding?
I had a hobby doing up cars, and that couldn't be anymore. And I needed an outlet, so to speak. And so I thought, start modding computers.
So what exactly have you done to this machine?
This one started off as a very old Pentium 2 spec PC. It just needed a little more to it, It just didn't have what I wanted in a computer. This one took about 6 to 8 months, and the first thing I actually went and done was actually had the chassis itself chrome plated.
So I noticed you got all these tubes inside the case, so what's all that about?
Water cooling. It's all about performance, getting more out of your computer. Overclocking, you can add your own individual style to your water cooling. It's aesthetically pleasing.
So I noticed all these cases are kind of similar, but uniquely different. How did you do that?
They all start off as a slightly old-fashioned, boring, plain-looking case. And then to start off, a simple mod can be just your standard 120mm blowhole that pretty much all case mods start off with nowadays. And that's just to get the cooling, get more air in, more out. The cooler it runs, once again, the faster it'll go. These are all mostly done using PVC pipe. And then we get them in place by using standard everyday car filler that you can buy from local auto shops. You've cut your hole, you put your blowhole in, you set it in, and then you'll use the filler to seal it in and then paint over the top. And that's your basic blowhole. And all the smaller details were all done using a rotary Dremel to go around and get the basic shapes, and then hand sanded by hand with sandpaper. But that's the basis of all good modding.
Of all good modding, of course.
Is your rotary tool. From there, you've got your jigsaws, files, sandpaper. Hole saws. Got to have your hole saws.
Have hole saws. So I noticed there's a lot of acrylic work done on this particular case. What goes into that?
This started off as a clear case. This was built for my 10-year-old son, so I had a lot of input from him on what he wanted.
Sure.
So basically what we did was all the panelling is an overlay panelling which sits over the top of all the original panelling. Some tricky EL wiring was added to add some effects to go into, just to give it that touch. And we named the custom-made water tanks Storm Tanks.
This one has a really nice finish on it.
This is professional painting, and it's done in a booth, but it's basically auto quality paint. So when it goes on, it gives that car that brilliance that you'd see on a brand new car, which sets it apart.
So for someone who wants their own finish at home, what can they do?
Just use your standard spray can from your everyday auto shop, and your average can will paint a panel this side easily with a few coats on it. Once that's done, we give it a light sand to knock the top off it, the roughness, and then we use a clear over the top.
Well, thanks for coming on Good Game today and talking about your frankly beautiful cases.
Cheers, mate.
It's been a pleasure having you.
My pleasure coming in. Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Good game! Okay, gamers, can you guess the retro game for this week?
It was a chart topper back in the winter of 1987, and if you don't know what it is, you need to get through those boxes and check your Apple II or Commodore 64. Good luck. Answer at the end of the show.
Good game! Well, as we all know, the Need for Speed series has been around for a while now, and EA have released their latest offering, Carbon. Neither myself nor Kapowski have mastered racing games, but the doc has, so here he is to review it.
Need for Speed Carbon tries to connect all the different elements of the past Need for Speed games. There's high-speed driving, police chases, tunable cars, as well as a wide selection of cars, such as tuners, exotics, and muscle cars. Now, Need for Speed Carbon introduces plenty of new features. There's canyon racing, as well as new drift mode. Canyon racing is a thinly veiled spin-off of the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. You chase an opponent down a winding mountainside, racking up points. Then you get put back at the top, and the opponent chases you down the mountain.
So it's a great game then?
Unfortunately, no. Trying to piece it all together into the one game doesn't really seem to have worked that well. You can't really drive at the speed that your car's capable of because there's no freeway to drive on. The roads are really tight and technical too, so it's hard to maneuver, plus the motion blur really stops you from seeing where you're going at times.
What about the police chases?
Well, they're just too easy. I mean, even you guys could handle it.
Oh.
You have to actually let the police catch up to you most of the time to even make it a challenge. And they've removed the fun police-based objectives that were prevalent in Most Wanted, so it's no fun anymore.
And I see drifting is back. Is it any good?
Well, kind of. I mean, the handling is completely changed now. Rather than steering by controlling the wheels, you sort of push the back end of the car. Steering right causes the back of the car to slide left, with the front wheels staying in the same place and counter-steering by themselves. Gone are the days of doing your own counter-steer, and gone are the days of drift mode being any fun, unfortunately. I can't stand the new mode. The handling is too unpredictable. I mean, when I turn right, I want it to steer right, not kick the back of the car left.
So, Doc, how long did it take you to finish this game?
Well, it took me under 8 hours to finish the whole career mode, but it still felt like a bit of a chore. I really hope EA goes back to the original formula in the next game. Fast cars, open roads, few police for good measure.
So, Doc, let's, talk chickens.
Well, I'm going to give this a half-empty 5 out of 10. The career mode was too short, and it just wasn't much fun, to be honest.
Ouch. It's a spicy meatball.
So what about you guys? What have you been playing?
Dude, we've been hitting up Viva Pinata, and this is one strange game.
Yeah, basically it's a city-building game set in a garden with similar addictive gameplay elements to the likes of SimCity and Caesar.
It's party time!
Viva Pinata, filled with fun.
Filled with fun!
Though the effort is there to make a family-oriented game, the majority of the appeal would be with the kids. There's a lot of reading along with pop-ups, which is good for learning how to read.
You know buzzlegums like honey? Well, so do raisins, which is why they don't get on.
Within the first few hours of playing, you're bombarded with cute cutscenes and tutorials.
The worm has turned up because you have uncovered some good soil.
The aim is to attract a large and varied number of insects and animals, which in this world come in the form of piñatas.
You've attracted a sparrowmint. Sparrowmints can hear a worm wiggling from miles away.
Different things attract different piñatas. Ponds attract frogs, lights attract moths, but you only have a limited amount of space.
There's also a food chain thing happening, which means some of your hard-earned critters will yield to Darwin. The solution is figuring out how to romance your piñatas together to make baby piñatas, and thus the never-ending cycle of candy-filled paper mache goes on.
And although you can never really finish the game, I'll be damned if I didn't actually stay up till 4 a.m. trying to get more piñatas.
And the winner of the Good Game shirt for this week is...
Good game.
And then just pop this last piece into place. Ah, and that's your very own wall.
That was the award-winning Better Walls and Muzak. Tonight at 9 o'clock, we've got a heist and chase thriller about a man without a body and a woman with a bow, followed by tennis coverage live from Europe, all night long. But now, it's...
Previously on the team, we met Virginia, the girl on the team pretending to be a boy but falling for everybody nonetheless. First it was Simon. Now it's Benedict, who's hot but taken by wrestler Emily. At the end of last week's episode, Simon discovered that Virginia wasn't all she said she was.
Wait a second. He's a woman!
And so now he thinks he might like her. Find out what happens now. Now!
Hello, Simon. I'm playing soccer.
I can see that. Now, do you mind if I ask whether or not you're a man?
Yes.
Yes, you mind, or yes, you're a man?
No.
Ah, right, no, you don't mind, or yes, you're a man?
Later, after the game.
Hey, are you okay? Why are you crying?
I'm not a man.
Hey, don't cry. You're okay. Don't be that way. You don't look fat at all. What? No, wait, hang on. You're okay, don't be that way. You look beautiful as a man. And at least you don't get shot at work.
But nobody likes me.
Oh, sure they do. Come on, let's go to the party. Benedict's hot Puerto Rican girlfriend will be there. I can be a man and you can pretend to be one and we can perv on her. And then you can be a woman and I'll pretend to be one too and we can perv on Benedict.
Oh, Simon, you're so gender-bending and open-minded, bi-curious, despite being shot.
Thank you.
Aha! A moment for our hero and his potential lover. Now, for those of you who were wondering, the Fighting Squirrels won the game 1-0 in overtime. Next week, the after party. Will Virginia and Simon hook up? Will they play games at the party like charades?
Chicken?
Will they serve kebabs? Will they be chicken ones? Find out the answers to all these questions on next week's concluding episode of The Team!
Oh, you own me. You've played this game before, haven't you? Well, Alex Krotowski, thanks for joining us. You're from The Guardian, right?
I am, yes.
Well, welcome to the Den of Gaming.
Thank you very much.
Or formerly known as The Dog.
The Dog. It's very nice to be here. Thank you very much.
So some people have called you a preacher in women in gaming. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I've done quite a lot of gaming, and I am a woman, arguably, and I've written quite a lot about gaming as well. I wrote a white paper, a research document on women in gaming, sort of across Europe and also across the rest of the world, and that was a couple of years ago, so that was quite good. And yeah, I wander around telling people that they should play games and interview other female gamers and all that kind of stuff. So,
how far do you think it's come from those 2 years ago?
I don't know if you guys know about the frag dolls. In the US, there's a group of professional fraggers, basically. So, you know, girls who play first-person shooters. And they sort of act on behalf of Ubisoft, and they go around sort of looking nice, of course, because, you know, you've got to if you're a girl. And they basically play the boys at their own game. And they've just recently opened up another frag dolls sort of group in Europe. And I think that they're gonna start going global, so you guys might get one over here if you're lucky. But yeah, they're top birds. So I think that there's more and more female gamers that are making themselves known. Probably because, I guess, I don't know, I think the stereotype of boy gamers is, I think it's pretty old. And while I think, you know, in some ways it is true, I think that there are more girls who are interested in pushing the idea that it's not just about the boys playing. Do you feel that the market is influenced by men because men are working on the games themselves? Oh my God, yeah, definitely. I mean, think about it. If, you know, it has historically been a boys' sport, hasn't it? It's historically been sort of guys sitting around eating pizza, playing whatever, locked in their bedrooms and not actually socializing. So if that group of people are the only people who have been playing games, then arguably, like, they're the ones who are going to want to play them because they see the appeal of them. They're like, well, that's, you know, that's a good job. That's something that I want to contribute to. So And then if girls are doing other things, then they're not necessarily going to want to contribute to that culture because they just don't know it and they don't know the depth and everything like that. I think increasingly there are more and more women getting into the games industry and helping to create the games. And I hope that that starts to translate into games that are more interesting, not just for women to play, but also more interesting for, you know, other non-gamers to play and you know, us to play as well.
What is it about a game that might attract a female audience?
Some of the things that have come up again and again are things like depth of character, depth of plot, which is severely lacking, full stop,
Yep.
you know, completely. I mean, and also I think something that's really interesting that isn't really addressed very much in games is having a pick up and play element. By that I don't mean necessarily like total casual games or dumbing down the games market or whatever. I mean basically something that people, whoever it is who doesn't play games, can pick up, knows immediately how to play, doesn't have to do a completely new finger language. I mean, look at this. This is so confusing for anybody who has not played games. So, you know, you go on this, you push a few wrong buttons, you go, I don't know, and you put it down.
From an avid gamer's point of view like yourself, what do you think would make a good game? What kind of game would you make?
Well, my big thing at the minute, and this is one of the reasons why I'm really focused on Second Life, the PC sort of product, and that's not really a game, is social interaction. I've gone mental over things like massively multiplayers, not because I have any interest in orcs and goblins. That get them as far away from me as possible. I cannot be bothered with that at all. But I really like the element of things like Xbox Live, what they've done, where they've developed community, where they've developed things like a marketplace, where they've really put the human back into the technology. That's the kind of thing that I'm really interested in.
Where you get to talk to us Aussies.
Oh yes. Hello, are you an Aussie? Yeah, no, that kind of, but yeah, like that kind of thing where not only do you get, you know, the international community, but you also develop things like, I don't know, teamwork, coordination. There's just lots of things that you can do with other people, and that's what I really like.
That's cheating, Hacks.
You can blind me all day, I'll still beat
You will, actually.
Junglist in the lead.
Come on.
Oh. What's that? What's the deal with that?
I used my boost.
Oh, here she goes.
Oh, no.
Here she goes. Here she goes. Here she goes.
Oh. No way.
That's what you get. Sorry, boys.
Alrighty gamers, you asked for it, so today we're going to show you how to set up your very own LAN. What you'll need for a good LAN is plenty of trestle tables and lots of room. Most LANs are BYOC, which stands for Bring Your Own Computer. You'll need your case, screen, keyboard, mouse, but definitely not speakers. Make sure you bring your own headset. The backbone of any LAN is the switch. The switch is what connects all the computers together and allows you to play games with each other. A basic 8-port switch like this is enough for most home LANs, but you can get big ones up to 24 ports for large LANs. To connect your network together, you'll need network cables like this. Each computer will need an individual one, so make sure you have enough. Connect it into the back of the computer, as well as into the switch. In order to connect with everyone else's computer, you'll need to set up your network connection. Go to the control panel on your computer, then under Network Connections, right-click on your local area connection and click Properties. Then go to TCP/IP and click Properties again. Now you'll need to click Use the following IP address. Click on the IP address box and type in 192.168.0 and then use a number anywhere between 0 and 255 that no one else on the network is using. For the sake of this, I'm going to use 50. Then push Tab to go to the subnet mask. Type in 255.255.255 and push Tab again. Then for the default gateway, if you have an internet connection, put 192.168.0.1. The 192.168.0.1 number is a standard for getting onto the internet through a router. At most LANs, you won't be connected to the internet, so it usually doesn't matter. But some LANs have the internet, so you may need to know this. You'll also need to set the preferred DNS server to 192.168.0.1 as well if you want to get on the internet. So now I'm connected, I'm just going to go and see if everyone else is connected properly as well. Defiant, you okay?
Yep.
Sid?
Good mate, thanks.
How about you, Junglist?
Yeah, I think so. Is this right?
Yeah, that looks right. We can get gaming.
Sweet.
So now we're ready to join a LAN game. This one here is Junglist, so we'll connect to that one. Now we can own that noob up.
Good game.
Hey guys, as you can see, we've got the Nintendo Wii, and I'm sure you've got a lot of questions you want answered about it.
Let's do it.
Alright, so firstly, we noticed there was a bit of lag last time we played with it. Has it been fixed yet, John?
No, the infrared lag is still there. It's not really an issue with Zelda or Wii Sports, but it may be in future FPS games.
Does Wii Sports stand on its own as a game?
No, it's a bit of a cop-out of a bundle. It is very fun, but it mainly just demonstrates what the Wii is capable of. However, you will want to buy other games.
Big question. Is the Nintendo Wii a new way to play games, or is it just a gimmick?
It's more than a gimmick, it is a new way to play games. However, it will depend on what the developers do with it, if it will realize its full potential, but the potential is there. As a system, it's well worth its hype. Don't make the mistake of discounting the PS3 though, as that will stand the test of time.
And look at the size of this thing, it's smaller than a bread box.
Smaller than a bread box. It's pretty light too, easy to carry around.
Alright, the time has come. Let's talk Zelda.
Well, I'm happy to report that in the night that I played the game, I didn't even get close to finishing it. It has a lot of playtime. As is normal with Zelda games, the legend is the same, but the story is told differently. There's a good balance between homage and creative new stuff, such as the boomerang, which is now the wind boomerang, which you can use to carry items from one spot to another. Such as in a dungeon where the platforms are separated, you can use the wind boomerang to carry a bomb from one side of the room to a boulder on the other side, which was blocking a doorway.
Yeah, and the land of Hyrule is covered in twilight, and the dusk has a dark power over the land. When affected, Link actually changes into a wolf form, and you'll be expected to use his wolf abilities combined with his human abilities to solve puzzles. Wolf mode is pretty fun and fast, and he actually growls when you hit a target as well. He can dash fast, and he also has a sense of unworldly spirits.
The storyline is not as clearly laid out or as engaging as previous Zeldas, and the game's actually a lot more linear. There's not as much free roam, which is noticeably missed.
I found the interface was very easy to get the hang of as well. Zelda using the new Wii remote, actually you could choose what kind of skill you wanted Link to use, or what weapon, whether it be the slingshot or drinking some potion back. What did you think?
I think the controls will come easily to any Zelda veteran, but if you haven't played a Zelda game before, you will need to come to the game with an open mind and patience. Expect to get stuck and expect to have to figure out how to beat the puzzles.
Now, as you know, I'm a huge fan of multiplayer, and I really feel that Zelda should jump on the multiplayer bandwagon. Having one-on-one sword fights would be just cool. What do you think?
Yep, I totally agree. However, it's not all lost. The sword play in Twilight Princess is great. Link has new moves, and there's a lot of little things like that that really add to the game. Wolf combat is really fun as well.
Even though I did have a bit of a whinge about the multiplayer, or their lack of, I did have a lot of fun watching you hogging the controller all the time going through puzzles, because you can actually help each other out.
Absolutely, and I think the question on everyone's lips is, has Miyamoto done it again?
I definitely think so. He's kept the respect with taking it from 2D to 3D with the Nintendo 64, and he's kept on the tradition with moving it from the 64 to the Nintendo Wii. Huge thumbs up. I'm gonna give it 9 out of 10 chooks. How about you, Jung?
Indeed. I think Ocarina of Time was a masterpiece, and this isn't quite the masterpiece that was, but it comes close. Real close. I think we can agree on that 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
game.
Well, if you haven't named the game for this week, it was California Games, made by Epix. It's one of the classics of the late 80s.
Next week, in our very last Good Game for the year, we've got a bumper!
1 hour long
episode featuring the very best of your entries to the Win the Beast competition.
That's right, the finalists and the winner.
We'll be wrapping up the year from a gaming perspective and looking at the phenomenal impact of Japanese games.
We go inside Plastic Wax, an Australian-based company that makes cutscenes and opening movies for some of the most popular games out there.
And you remember the poll to get rid of peanuts? Well, we do, in true gaming fashion.
It's also the final episode of the team, and you can determine the outcome by voting on our online poll. So hit our website and vote.
So be sure to join us next week and celebrate all that's good about gaming in 2006.
Kapowski, Owski.
Junglist out.
So you're going to read out those names? You got owned.
All right. The following people knifed me in Counter-Strike. Trojan Vodka, Death Clam, Pearl Jammer, twice.